and welcome to ADHD Friendly. I am Patty. I am an ADHD coach, and my passion is finding ways to tilt the playing field in favor of brains with ADHD so that we are struggling less and thriving more. To find out more about my work and my offerings, I invite you to check out my website, ADHD-Friendly.com, where there are free tools. There are some really cool things that I have available for purchase, and there's even a membership if you are interested in working with me at a much more affordable price than individual one-on-one coaching, which is really why I developed it, because I wanted an ADHD friendly price point for live interactions that can support you to struggle less and thrive more. All right, so this is episode 162. We're going to be talking about holiday self-care. It's that time of year. It gets so busy. I cannot believe how fast. I say this every year, but it feels like every year it goes just a little bit faster. I know it's my favorite time of year, and that, our favorite things can kind of just fly by. But man, every time I try to hold on to it and slow things down, it just feels like they go faster. But we're going to talk about how to take care of yourself over the holiday season. And then I have a tool that I'm going to share that lets you kind of gamify your self-care. And then I have a celebration that's a subscriber celebration. Becca, you don't know about this.
Ooh.
So I'll be sharing that first, because I always like to start off with a celebration. And I invite you, I'm really wanting to be mindful about supporting you to think about, as I share celebrations, the reason I do it is, number one, it forces me to look for something that I feel like I can share and highlight. And I really want to underline the importance of finding those successes so that we can hold on to them and use them and capture them. So I invite you, as I'm sharing my celebration, to think about what you would celebrate from the past week. What would you want to remember, and where will you capture it so that you can go back and revisit it when your brain is in that more negative mindset and you're feeling stuck? The positive successes will help pull you out of that. So that's why I always start with a celebration. All right, my celebration this week comes from a listener. This is a subscriber to our YouTube channel that posted in episode 159, which was about unconscious incompetence, which I shared was just such a sparkly tool to remember how when we start something new, we can become aware of the fact that we don't know. We didn't even know what we didn't know. So now we're really uncomfortable that we are now consciously incompetent. And then as we learn more about it, we become consciously competent, meaning we really have to work at it, but we can do the thing now. And the goal is to become unconsciously competent, meaning we do it automatically. We don't even have to think about it or exert effort. And so this is from Carlin Wilson, 2909. Carlin shared, I just love this podcast. I can't even tell you, right there, done. It's like, I know. And I swear, whenever a comment like this comes in, it just feels like it's at the time I needed it most. It's that I get that feeling that the universe is meeting me where I am and saying, you got this, Patty, you keep going, girl. She said, I became aware of my conscious incompetence around my idea of time from watching you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. I even bought the Seeing My Time course book after you talked about it. I can attest to how uncomfortable and almost overwhelming this spot is, but thank you for the reminder that I'm on my way to unconscious competence.
Amazing.
I love that so much. Carlin, thank you so much for sharing that. And this came up, I always try to underline again, kind of anchor down the understanding that when you're learning something new, and in my experience as a coach and all of the clients I've worked with and in the groups that I've led around time management, putting structure around time is very uncomfortable. It creates, we're stepping out of our comfort zone to put structure around something. And because we become aware of how blind we've been with our time, it creates a lot of discomfort. So I always want to let people know that that's almost to be expected as you're putting structure around your time, so that you aren't kind of oh my gosh, this is terrible, I don't ever want to do this. And you have a way just to kind of acknowledge okay, this is uncomfortable, but let me pay attention to what it is I'm getting from doing this, and start small. Always start small. So thank you so much, Carla, for sharing that, because it's a reminder that we have to go through that process to get to where we're better at what we're trying to strengthen. All right. So my tool for this week is a holiday self-care bingo card.
Cute.
So I love the idea of gamifying what we're trying to do more of. And so I turned my more generic bingo card that I had made for the conference last year into a holiday self-care bingo card. So I updated the color and I updated the little things on it. I always give myself a free space. And my goal would be over the course of the week to get a bingo, right? Or maybe even to fill in the whole card, depending on what you're filling it in with. And so for the holiday self-care bingo card, I added things like listen to your favorite holiday song, or enjoy a hot beverage like cocoa or cider. Take a nature walk, where you can enjoy all of like the changing seasonal colors or smells. Light a holiday seasoned candle, or like you use a holiday scent like cinnamon, like I love baking. So I like to bake a holiday or fall kind of themed recipe. I made pumpkin bread this weekend. It was my first time for the season. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've made it since last winter, because it's just, to me, it's more of a hearty kind of fall and winter
rich
bread. It is. It's very dense and oh gosh, it's so good. And I just
puree.
I got it from Costco, guys. It was a lot. And then I took the extra because it only came in these 32-ounce cans. And I took the extra and I put it into my mini ice cube tray, and I give it to the dogs because they just love pumpkin. So I just break it up and take it out of the tray and put it in a little baggie in the freezer, and I give it to the dogs as little treats. They stinking love it. Because at first I was like, I don't know what to do with this can. I don't want to put it. I was like, oh my gosh, I remembered I make pumpkin little cubes out of it. Oh, I digress. So anyway, gamifying self-care for me is a really sparkly way in. So if self-care is a challenge for you, think about what would make it fun. And gamifying it is one of those ways in for you. Guess what, guys? If you're listening to this, check out my YouTube channel, ADHD Friendly, because I am holding up a free tool. This is currently available on my website, ADHD-Friendly.com. Go to ADHD-Friendly.com/resources, and you will find this tool is available that you can open and print at your leisure to fill in with your unique self-care bingo card. Come on, what is that? This is another huge win that I got this made and uploaded, and it's already, as I'm recording this on the website, even though this won't come out for 2 weeks, but I thought I cannot record this unless it's already on there, because I get so uncomfortable with the idea of promising something and it not happening. I have opened it. I have printed it. This is actually the one I printed just to confirm it works. Woo. Got it. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about holiday self-care. What would it be like? I just want you to kind of picture, if you will, giving yourself 10 minutes each day for you, just for you. Not, you can always do more. If 10 minutes feels impossible, do less, right? Make it 5 minutes, make it 2 minutes, but commit to a minimum amount of time. I'm going to encourage 10 minutes. But imagine what would it be like to give yourself 10 minutes every day to do something for yourself over the holiday season. Just 10 minutes, right? A lot of times, even the thought is like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can't add one more thing to my schedule. But here's the thing. If we're not taking care of ourselves and we're not recharging and refilling our tanks, it is going to get harder to do those things on your list. It's going to get harder to keep getting up and going every day. We have to recharge our batteries. We have to fill our tanks. So this is just such a busy time of year. So keeping in mind, we've got holiday celebrations going on around the seasonal and end of year time of year. So parties, we've got travel potentially, we've got company coming in, or we're going to other places. We might have expectations for end of year things at work or within your family or within your friend groups. Maybe finances create a lot of end of year pressure and stress. It's that, okay, take advantage of your medical benefits before the end of the year, or you're going to, take it. I keep seeing these emails about, take advantage of the tax cuts now, do this to reduce your tax burden. Oh my gosh, right? There's so many things going on. And then when you think about if you have to get any gifts for the holidays, if you have birthdays this time of year, if you're traveling, how are you keeping track of your spending? That self-care is really important, and self-care does not have to cost money. So thinking about prioritizing yourself by identifying what feels like self-care to you. And this is a really important thing. I've done lots of sessions on self-care, and I really want to underline the importance of, I keep saying underline, I'm hearing it, guys. I apologize, because if I'm hearing it, I know you're hearing it. And that's one of my pet peeves when somebody says the same word. I digress again. Oh, thank God. Like supported my brain this morning. I'm like, I'm going all over. Okay. Where was I? I got her cracking up. Oh, identifying what feels like self-care to you. Whew. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about are some examples of what feels like self-care to me. But it really is important to identify what feels like self-care to you. So my example here is like my husband loves to go and get a massage. To him, that is one of the ultimate forms of self-care. I hate massages. I can't stand the idea of somebody else putting their hands on my body and like, no, that would be so like, I'm like, I've done it. I'm like this. I am like, oh my gosh, I get my nails done at a new place. Look, I got my nails done. Yeah, because I got them done. I gave in. Notice that when we did the favorite things episode, I forgot to mention that none of them made the list because it didn't work. So I've given in and I'm letting myself do my nails over the holiday season. And then I'm going to decide what to do after that. I bake too much. I can't be doing my nails and have my nails chipped. Yeah, I can't have chipped nail polish in my baking. I can't digress. Right.
Self-care.
Right. All right. But I had my nails done and this new place I'm going to, they come and they massage my shoulders. I am like this. And I'm just like, all right, how much longer? Okay, it's good. We're good. We're good. Move along. Move along. Yeah, it's not a me thing. So again, it's just to really emphasize paying attention to what feels like self-care to you. I've had people tell me that doing the dishes feels like self-care to them. I know. If you could have seen Becca's face, it was my face if you would have said it to me. Because they love the sudsy water and and the satisfaction and getting into the whole like method. They'll put music on and they really get into a zone. No, thank you. But again, what feels like self-care to you?
Yeah.
Same thing with baths. I've shared how I've tried to be a bath person.
I love a bath, Patty.
No, I can't. I am so stinking bored. I literally fill the tub. I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, can I call it now? All right, can I get out now? Like, it's just like, and then I feel like I've wasted all of that hot water because I'm just like, I'm good, I'm done. So here are some ideas to get started on supporting yourself. Again, just 10 minutes a day on self-care for you. Maybe make a self-care bucket list. It could be just a list of things you're like, you know what? It would be fun to do these things for myself. I'm going to make a list of things that make it easier, especially if you're low energy. We want to have a tool to tap into so that if you're not feeling energized, you aren't expecting yourself to think of something you can do in the moment. That's a non-starter. That requires energy and effort. When we're low energy, we need to have an easy way to tap into a plan that we can get started with. So things that resonate with you and capture them so that you remember. And I got the stupid Zoom giving me the thumbs up. Maybe just deciding to tap into a hobby 10 minutes a day. I love to do jigsaw puzzles. I love to knit. So just kind of prioritizing or even just reading, a few pages a day. It could be, I'm going to read for 10 minutes every day and then bookmark it, whatever, and put it down. Whatever it is you want to give yourself. Focusing on sleep hygiene can be a form of self-care. So just kind of doubling down on just prioritizing your sleep over such a busy time of year. Just like I mentioned before, getting into the holiday scents, the things that if I see one more cinnamon pumpkin spice thing, I'm going to lose my mind. But if you love that, go for it. It's not that I'm against it. It's just every single thing, including I think Oreos I saw had cinnamon pumpkin. I was like, shut up.
It's taken over.
Get over yourself. Come on, Oreo.
Over it.
Yeah, I'm an Oreo girl. That's too much. Focus on maybe just what you're already doing. So it feels like if it's too much to add one more thing, give yourself credit and acknowledge what you're already doing. Count the shower. Allow yourself to allow yourself to let the hot water kind of run down and just feel like, or like get a sparkly scented body soap or a scrub that's going to exfoliate or something that's going to feel a little more luxuriating. Focusing on just taking your medication. If you take medication, can be like just acknowledging like I'm doing this to take care of myself, can shift the energy from I have to do this to look at me taking care of myself. If that's a way to tap into it that feels possible, it can shift the energetic flow because you're acknowledging it as self-care instead of just like one more thing you're checking off your to-do list. Maybe in addition to, or instead of a bucket list, you just make an energy, like a battery charging plan and just identify what charges you up. It could be music, maybe a holiday playlist, or like we talked about scents, getting outside in nature, whatever it is. Maybe you focus on self-care by removal. So taking something off your list, kind of downsizing expectations. So it could be instead of like, if you think about decorating the house, if that's something that you do over the holiday season, and that's feeling overwhelming, maybe you decide I'm going to decorate this room, or I'm going to decorate more outside and just do something simple. I remember when my grandmother went from a full-size tree to just like a little like tabletop tree topper. And I thought it was so sad but as I'm getting older, I realize like that's almost like a gift to give yourself permission to do something that works for you and it still brings you joy. So it gets you out of that all or nothing. Like I have to do a big tree or nothing. Maybe not. Maybe you do a littler tree or like a little like, Charlie Brown sized tree. Do what works for you. Maybe you focus on giving back if that's a form that feeds you. So maybe even like when I knit things, I learned about a group recently that's knitting to donate to hospitals and charities. I'm like, okay, that's like a really nice thought. So maybe there's something you enjoy doing, but there's nobody that you have to give it to. I've started doing my puzzles and then donating them because too many puzzles that I've asked my husband to frame. It's become almost like a joke. So it's, I get to enjoy it and then I get to pass it on for somebody else to enjoy. But maybe you're donating your time to go and help a charity that you feel connected to, and that's fueling you up. I know last year I didn't set up my Christmas village, my train set. I just wasn't feeling it. But the interesting thing is, because I didn't do it this last year, I'm looking at it with a very different energy this year, and I'm really excited to get it out and set it up. Yeah. And so that's an interesting thing that I gave myself permission not to, and now I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So
it brought back the sparkliness.
Exactly. It's not, oh my gosh, every year I get this thing out because nobody played with it. Well, last year they were like, where's the tree? And I was like, guys, nobody played with it last year. It's kind of defeating to spend all that time setting it up and then have nobody even look at it. But I'm going to move it this year to where everybody is, because I think that's what sparkly too is. I'm changing it up a little bit, getting out of my routine. And then maybe you just plan downtime to relax and recharge after the holidays or after a big holiday party or like the office gathering. Block time to settle in. So whether you're taking a vacation and maybe you're blocking off some time that first day back just to get caught up on email and your calendar and, just kind of get settled in, or even if it's just, we were out late the night before, give yourself an hour in the morning, get up early. If you don't have flexibility in your job to take care of yourself and kind of give yourself a chance to ease back in. I always call that like a zero entry plan so that you're making it easy to transition back. If you think about like those zero entry pools where it's just like the sand, you kind of like wading in instead of expecting yourself to jump into the deep end. So think about just planning that time to get reconnected after you're thrown out of your routine or after you've had a particularly taxing time around coworkers or relatives or family, because it can be a challenging time of year. And then I just ask you to explore what else. If there's something else that works for you around holiday self-care, please post it in the comments of this episode 162. We would always love to hear what works for you because we learn from each other. All right, on to the book of the week for this week. Okay, so I have enjoyed Kristen Hanna's books. So I read another one of hers, and it's called The Great Alone. And she also wrote The Women, The Four Winds, The Nightingale. Very, very well-known author. This book came out in 2019, so it's an older book, but I enjoyed, except I did enjoy The Four Winds. That was fascinating. She can kind of kill off her main characters, so you get really, she writes beautifully. You get very attached to the characters, so when they die, you're kind of like really like
sucker punched.
Hurt. Yeah, and so that's my only thing that I was reading it. I was like, who's gonna die? Like I was just kind of waiting for who's gonna die. She's just a little willing to kill her main characters in heartbreaking ways. But what I particularly loved about this is it's set in Alaska in the 1970s. And here's a little summary. A desperate family seeks a new beginning in the near isolated wilderness of Alaska, only to find that their unpredictable environment is less threatening than the erratic behavior found in human nature. Here's my favorite thing about it. Snow.
Ooh.
You guys know I love winter. I love snow so stinking much. Every time, like it was almost always snowing in this book because it's Alaska. It was like even if it wasn't snowing, they were preparing for snow. So I realized this is another strategy that occurred to me. I need to earmark, kind of like make a little list of winter focused books to read in the summer months, because this put me so in winter, and it's not winter yet, that I was just loving it. If that's not your jam, maybe hold it for summer if you want something to read when it's really hot outside, because that occurred to me. I was like, I am looking forward to winter, but I think I would really enjoy to read a book like this in the summertime. All right. So here is a quote from The Great Alone. And this is from Lenny, who is the main character in the story. She's the daughter. So it's a mom and dad move with their only child to Alaska. Oh. She says, home was a state of mind, the peace that came from being who you were and living an honest life. This just made me feel cozy because it really was about how like they moved around a lot. She rarely stayed someplace for longer than a year until they moved to Alaska, and how she was always the new kid. She never really fit in. It was always a struggle. She was always teased and bullied, and Alaska was like this place that started. I'm not giving anything away. This like happens in the first 2 chapters. Alaska is the place that starts to actually feel like a home, and she's never felt that before. And I just love that description because it did feel cozy. It was like, ooh, yeah, that is what home should feel like. So I hope that's how your home feels, especially over this busy time of year where we're just trying to support ourselves to struggle less and thrive more. That's all for this episode. Until next time, tally ho.